Rolling down the boulevard in the speedboat Corvette, like a tail on a tornado ring to promise soaked in sweat. One hand on the glass pipe, the other on the wheel. Devil riding shotgun, singing, boy, let's make a deal.
This is Groundless, a Justified podcast. This is a podcast where we watch every episode of Justified and come on here and talk about it. I'm Chris. That man is Randy.
And we are back.
That's right. For one special episode, we are back. I guess I should have said, I should have used past tense when I said this is a podcast that we watch every episode of Justified and then come on here and talk about it. This is a podcast where we watched every episode of Justified and came on here and talked about it. And now we're here to talk a little bit about the overall show, the whole thing, and what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we thought we want to see more of. I've got some fun stuff that we'll do here. I've got some spinoff ideas and some movie ideas that I think I actually some of them are jokes, but some of them I would really love to see.
Well, some of them are both, like they're both
exactly,
and are jokes.
Yep. My 30-minute comedy martial art is definitely a joke.
Wait, what was yours?
My 30-minute comedy called Martial Art is definitely a joke, but 30-minute workplace comedy. I'll detail that more when we get there. But
I was gonna say I had mine Raylan in space.
Space cowboy, right? I mean, that's basically what he is. Yeah.
It's called Firefly. It's a Western in space.
Oh,
That's
right. Okay, that makes
has.
sense. No, that sounds like a really good show. I'm sure it wouldn't get aired out of order and canceled after one season.
I hope not, because that.
And then make a really great movie that they never made another one of.
I know. That should have been at least a trilogy movie series or something.
It really should have. Although they killed. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. Spoiler alert for those. There's some stuff that happens in Firefly the movie that's not great. But all right. Well, let's. First thing I want to do here is I want to remind everybody to subscribe, rate, and review, because we say it in that order because it's the easiest way to do it. Subscribe. You hit the button in the app, your podcast app. That's going to allow you to get every episode of this show as it's released. Including this one. And if you are subscribed, you're going to get this one, and it's going to show up tomorrow, and you're going to be very surprised and hopefully pleasantly surprised that you're getting this episode of the podcast. If you don't have a subscription, you're going to have to go and figure out when we post, and that's no fun for anybody. Rate is where you give us a rating of 1 to 5 stars, always 5, please, por favor, in the app store of your choice. And then, of course, review is where you take the time to write us a detailed written review. Thanks to those of you who have done it. We really do appreciate it. Those of you who haven't, please do. When you get an opportunity, give us 5 stars at least. You don't have to write the review, but the written reviews do help. They show traction for the show. They show things that you might be interested in that other people are interested in, and they can then find our show because of your rating. So it really does help people find the show. So please do that when you get a chance. We appreciate it. Also, don't forget to check us out on social media, Groundless Podcast and Groundless Pod. We're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Reddit. You can also email us, groundlesspodcast@gmail.com, with your questions, concerns, and corrections. Of course, we always love corrections. And of course, any love troubles that you have, although we've been somewhat bereft of love troubles in the old inbox these days. So please send them over.
Because our listeners are all like supermodels.
Yeah, apparently.
They have no love troubles.
No relationship troubles. Well, let me tell you, we'll have the opportunity to keep up the relationship segment with what we're going to talk about we're doing next. So.
Awesome. I'm so excited, actually. I'm kind of pumped up.
So I thought what we would do is we just kind of go through and talk about some of the characters for the show and kind of who we liked, who we didn't like, and sort of break it down in like main cast versus sort of a seasonal cast versus recurring and that sort of thing. Because I think there's so many really cool characters on Justified that it's you can forget people sometimes, 4 seasons on, and I thought I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to start, right? So who's my favorite cast member in the main cast? So this is someone who's in multiple seasons or with a regular credit in the opening theme, right? They get their names in the opening theme. And that's actually, this took me a minute because I had to sit and think it out, but I think it's Boyd. And the reason it's Boyd is because Raylan is easy to figure out. His motivations is relatively simple to figure out. His operation is simple. He's got a very clear and short instruction manual. Boyd, on the other hand, has a very detailed and complicated instruction manual, I would argue. But at the same time, he's very straightforward, right? You never have to worry about not knowing where you stand with Boyd. But at the same time, he's got, layers upon layers upon layers of things he's thinking about and working on. Now, none of them ever work out because he's snake bit or whatever. But I do like that Boyd is complicated but at the same time, he feels very straightforward at the same time. So Boyd is probably my favorite main cast character. I don't know. What about you?
Well, I like Boyd. Actually, he was I considered him and the person I'm going to talk about next, but as my favorite. But Boyd is he would probably be my natural first choice, but I thought about it a little more, and my favorite main cast character was Ava. Ava Crowder. Interesting.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I like to hear that. That's really interesting. I would never have projected that would be who you'd pick.
Yeah, well, I thought about it, and I think I said this when we first started recording, was that she's the one who actually probably changed the most.
Yep.
As far as where she wasn't from the beginning of the season, from the very first episode till the last, and she actually had a happy ending, being at the end of the series.
Yep.
And even though there was that part where, that whole jail arc where she was in jail, that was kind of like a detour where it kind of took away from her. I just count that whole thing as the way they used to say on The Wire. There's only 2 episodes that count during her jail arc, and that's the day that she went in and the episode that she came out.
You only do 2 days. The day you go in,
so
and
there's only 2
home.
Episodes.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that attitude about it. That's a really. It's like it's like Community season 4 or whatever they call it, the gas leak season.
That's right. And then, and the other thing was I have there's whole new science not science, but whole new math with the shotgun corollary. That Ava Crowder shotgun corollary has proven throughout the series.
I think mostly proven out. I think there was only 1 or 2 instances where we got some observations to the contrary, but not enough to disprove the theorem as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
So I agree with you on Ava. I had her down as the character who had the most growth and the best journey, right? Because you're absolutely right. I mean, she goes from being essentially a damsel in distress in episode 1. Well, let me rephrase that, right? She's not a damsel in distress because she just shot and murdered her husband who was beating her.
That's right.
So she's not necessarily a damsel in distress, but she's portrayed as a damsel in distress. She needs Raylan to help her. And that's what the whole season is based on, is Raylan helping her with the murder case that she's got against her, Raylan helping her, figure out what she's going to do with her life, Raylan helping her to hide from Bo and the people who are looking for her. And so you get a lot of that of Raylan sort of being the white knight or riding in on his white horse to save the day. But then, starting in season 2, Ava says, hey, wait a minute, I'm not going to be powerless anymore. I'm going to take the power back. And she does. And she really does have a robust journey to go from where she was at to where she ends up in rural California.
Yeah. Yeah. And she has like one of my favorite lines that just like, and we've mentioned that or memed it or whatever, as far as like that first episode where the Lysol is the best cleaning product, which I love,
just the classic, like they should do a commercial like with her in like a 50s housewife dress or something. Like, Lysol's about the best cleaning product you can buy.
Yeah. And so I think it was like I said, she's probably my favorite mate. And then, I think that goes down to like what you had mentioned earlier, like the who had the most growth, like you had mentioned as a topic. So that's why I had listed for that as well. Yeah. Same.
It was an easy answer for me. I barely had to think about that one. That one's like, okay, what do we have? We have Raylan, who basically did no growth.
Yeah, he's still the same even in season 7 or whatever it was.
The only growth he had was the hesitation that prevented him from shooting Boyd at the end. That was basically it. And Boyd, who also essentially ended up in the exact same place he started. So I mean, there wasn't a lot of growth. Tim and Rachel. I mean, Rachel had some character evolution, but she wasn't on screen enough. And Art is essentially exactly the same curmudgeon that he was when Raylan came to town. So
I think Rachel. I mean, I guess Rachel, like, she did get a career promotion, to the head. But I mean, we really didn't get to see anything other than her competence. I mean, she was very, like, there's no, except for that one episode with Black Panther. Yeah. I mean, but there was no other real depth that was explored for her character.
No, they alluded to like her getting divorced, but they never kind of played out those threads.
Yeah.
I wonder if those were all Post-its in the writer's room, and they're just like, oh, we don't have time for this. We got too much other killer. No, we don't have room for filler.
She would be a good spinoff.
I don't have her on my spinoff list, but I think you're right. I think you could put like a procedural in for her, like a 60-minute procedural, right? I think really
like a Monster of the Week or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A Law and Order type of thing, except Marshal Service. Like be like a Karen Sisko show, basically.
Yeah. On Netflix. I'm kidding.
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. Yeah. Actually, as a side note, I was thinking, what remakes have they made that they can remake? And I think a good one would be a remake of The Bodyguard, but Taylor Swift is
Taylor Swift's the pop star. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they put like Idris Elba or something like that.
Oh, Idris Elba,
like a reverse. Yeah, something like that. Like.
Or you could just straight up go gimmick and let Travis Kelce try and make his career turn, and he plays the Kevin Costner role.
That's right. Do you listen to? I get a lot of those clips of their podcast that they do. The Kelce
Jason
brothers.
Yeah.
And some of it's pretty interesting. Like I get why they're popular as far as like, I guess they're popular, podcast wise, because they wouldn't be showing their clips, I guess.
Right.
But I like that. What's his name? The older brother. I like his. He has a interesting perspective as far as like dealing with the fame that like, because Taylor Swift's like such a mega, so many levels above these guys.
Yeah.
That it's just interesting. It's interesting to get his perspective.
Well, when you're an offensive lineman, right, you get anonymity basically. You're making millions of dollars a year. You're maybe one of the best players or the best players at your position in the league, but you're always wearing a helmet. You're not being interviewed after the game. You're not, getting advertisements or whatever. So people don't know your face. I remember I walked past the fullback who played for the Chargers. He played for the Bengals before the Chargers. I can't remember his name. But
Lorenzo Neal?
Lorenzo Neal. Yeah, Zoneal. That's it.
Yeah.
And I walked past him. I was with our friend Steve, and I walked past him on the street downtown one day, and I didn't even look twice at him. And after we walked past him, Steve goes, "Hey, that was Lorenzo Neal." And I go, "Really?" And I turn around and I look, and I'm like, "Oh, sure enough, it was." But it's like it's the football player thing. They have the helmet on all the time. You don't know what they look like. And so to be as famous as Taylor Swift is, and everyone knows what you look like, and there are multiple people out there who pretend